Namaste, beloveds. This is Valerie Ames right now, and once again, I have a morning transmission or download to share, and I'm just going to read what I wrote. And I just want to say I'm very thankful for this place, this space. Um, there is a supermoon going on, I think, from the 19th of February forward. Um, all I know is just that this information is really mind blowing. And I'm a very analytical kind of person. And like I said, it's just blowing my mind. And I'm realizing that all the knowledge that has been gleaned and harvested over the years um, is just paying off in spades, so to speak. Let me just get to it so you can understand what I'm talking about and not just hear me blathering on. Um, and again, please pay attention to the wordings of this because it comes from the energy that I am tapping into right now, known as Aset. Um, so I am paying special attention to these words as well. Um, and here we go. The mind is a sadist. The personal self is a masochist. This is the true nature of duality. This, we are the dog chasing its own tail. TAIL and TALE. The dual. Even that struck me. Meaning, the mind wants to make us its bitch. Her words. Remember, my guides are set from the star known as Sirius. Sirius is known as the dog star. A female dog has been given the identity known as bitch. Men who are unfaithful to women are known as dogs. This is the fifth world. I am is speaking from the fifth dimension. This Aset I am presence that I am able to receive at this moment, able to identify with, able to know, able to grasp a hold of with my little baby understanding and my self-inquiry endeavor, journey, seeking, however you want to put that. This is just how it's presenting itself with me. And I'll just keep going on. We have world records that speak of one pure language. That language is unconditional love, meaning no sadistic, self-dominating mind that invents and manifests endless games of competition. This is where the concept of master comes from the mind, beloveds. Away as I was writing it and reading it over again. This is where the concept of master comes from, both positive and negative. The master who has become mastermind slash the master who has mastered his identity, Osiris slash Horus slash Jesus slash Buddha slash 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 all the other ascended masters that we can name. The tail, Tail / Tale, of one language, the Tower of Babel speaks of a group / collective known as the Elohim, those mastered by the personal identity of the mind, the elite few. And I'm going to say that again so you understand what I'm saying. These individuals know this group, this collective of the Elohim is mastered completely by the personal identity of the mind. They are the elite few. Okay? Now, again, this is going to the Tower of Babel, and you have to really understand that story to know who is speaking and who is observing what is happening. Okay, let me continue. They were threatened, this collective, this part of the Elohim, were threatened by those who the mind was not able to be the master of, those who were building a tower / a fortress of strength to ascend and transcend the mind. Through the realization of infinite intelligence of the universal consciousness based upon universal laws, this collective of Elohim was the sadistic mindset / correlation to the Egyptian set. Competition or compilation or worst enemy. It was a threat. Okay. Wait a minute. I messed that up. Let me go back because I want to get this straight, and I was just told that I messed that up. So, okay. The first group of the Elohim, the elite, we'll call them, were threatened by those who the mind was not able to be the master of. These ones who the mind was not the master of, began to build a tower, a fortress of strength in which to ascend and transcend the mind. They were looking to dominate the mind. The other elite Elohim did not want the mind to be mastered. Okay? Through the realization of infinite intelligence of the universal consciousness based upon universal laws, this collective whose mind was not able, who would not allow the mind to master them, they were the ones who were building the Tower of Babel with the ability to ascend and transcend the mind. And this was in direct competition to the elite who were mastered by the mind, who were the slaves of the mind. And this is how they looked upon these ones who were trying to ascend and dominate the mind. They looked at them as their enemy, as their competition, as the enders of worlds, so to speak. Now, before form all existed in the abyss, the all and the nothing simultaneously state of consciousness. In this consciousness of all and nothing, the very first separation took place. Now, this is going back before the Elohim were created. Why it came out this way, I don't know, but this is how I wrote it down, and it just is what it is. I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can, but if you need to go and rewind, go right ahead. If you need to reword it yourself, go right ahead. so that you get the understanding from it. The very first separation took place. It was called the light from the dark. Now, these two consciousnesses gave birth to energies known as angels and demons, who each gave birth to many worlds known as multiverses. Like I said, this is so deep. Now, please hold on to the fact that the abyss consciousness was observed by its creator, its parent. The abyss was the womb from which consciousness was born. All consciousness was born from the abyss, from this initial abyss. So consciousness as we know it has a beginning and it has an end that is known to us as the second death. So consciousness has a beginning, had a beginning, and it is going to have an end. And that end is called the second death. And in that second death, you are reborn again, or reborn as it is. That which is higher than consciousness, that observes consciousness, we call the Supreme God, Source, the One, the Great Spirit, the all-seeing eye, that which has no beginning, no ending, that which had no creator, thus has no destroyer. And I was also told to add here that even atheists can use this pointing or teaching or understanding to come to terms with their own highest self or highest consciousness, or however you want to put that. That which gave birth to consciousness, that which gave birth to divine will, that which gave birth to nature, that which gave birth to universal laws, that which gave birth to cycles and seasons, that which gave birth to the elements, that which gave birth to life, that which gave birth to us on earth, that which, when asked what its name was, told us, I am that I am. That was so deep. That consciousness, okay, consciousness gave birth to divine will. Consciousness gave birth to nature. Consciousness gave birth to universal laws. And each one of these, okay, divine will gave birth to nature. Nature gave birth to universal laws. Universal laws gave birth to cycles and seasons. That and cycles and seasons gave birth to elements. And the elements and all of these things in coordinate gave birth to life. So it's very deep. And when this collective consciousness that was still being observed by that which gave birth to it, when it was asked by what it had created, what its name was, how it was to be identified, it simply said, I am that I am. I am that I am. Meaning, it holds no concept of a name which you can call it, and it is all and nothing. But the most simplest of definition to describe it or sum up its essence is two words: I am. Meaning, I am / I exist. That is how you can identify me, because I am existing inside of everything and nothing all at the same time. And I wrote down, wait for it, even you. Okay, and we skip and jump here. The avatars of the gods were the physical manifestation of consciousness that took on forms that were to be seen as symbolic. These are the forms / avatars / archetypes we call plants and animals. And I guess the planets too, since that came. And the earth itself. Well, there you go, planets. The fish is Vishnu. The hawk / falcon is Horus. The jaguar is the sun and the moon, or light and dark, or truth and reflection of that truth. Elementals, water. The fish represents the consciousness of the original abyss and all that happened since its birth and all that the abyss contained. All the consciousness of the abyss is represented by the elementals known or represented in the avatar or the form or flesh or container that we know as fish. And keep with these because it breaks it down a lot more as we go farther. The hawk falcon is air. Air is the consciousness that is able to rise and soar to tremendous heights from the lowest depths. That is what air, the consciousness of air, is about. The consciousness of the ethers is the jaguar. The universe, the galaxy, the multiverse consciousness, celestial dark to night. This is the jaguar. So that would be the universal. Okay. Earth is the consciousness of will and nature, instinct, change, cycles, seasons, stages of evolution recorded as energy. Fire is the human form that contains the I am, unextinguishable flame, that which we once again have access to, called the Holy Spirit, that which fuels hope and is found inside of every living and non-living organic original creation, organic / original creation. Jubilee happens when these 5 consciousnesses are no longer observed as separate entities / energy knowings, but as one whole and thus holy, understanding known as the I am. Consciousness or the true identity of one true master of all collectives. How do you master the mind? Easy. Prayer, self-communication, self-inquiry. Meaning, when the mind brings up doubts, rebuke it with the truth. Meaning, put it in its place. You must train your mind, your dog, your child, your bitch. Meaning, I am tells it when to come, when to sit, when to be quiet, when to roll over, when to play dead, when to go away, and when to play. Thus, your mind is no longer this wild thing hell-bent on survival by any means necessary, because it is alone, so it has to eat or be eaten. But it is now tamed / domesticated, submissive, and willing to be one in accordance with the balance of harmony, knowing it is loved unconditionally. Its needs will always be taken care of, and nothing it requires from it, and nothing is required of it other from it other than being its own self slash I am. For some years now, there has been an encountering of, I believe it's called S&M, sadomasochistic bondage, domination, this type of nature, mentality, spiritual energy, expression, psychology, everything that you can name. And for me to receive this understanding of it now has really answered all of my questions. That this was an original energy that started in the abyss, and that this was the energy of the Elohim, that elite group that had separated itself and did not want to ascend, did not want to raise its vibration, did not want to reconnect or remember it being one. And if you know the story of the Tower of Babel, you know that it was these ones who, I'm going to use the word, cast the spell of separating the languages. That's how it was told. The languages were separated. So there was one language. That one language was allowing everyone who were diverse beings to build something, to build a connection back to its original state, back to its creator. And the Elohim did not want that. The Elohim was enjoying itself upon the earth. It was God. It didn't want to compete. It didn't want to give up its place. This again was presented to me as Set. I have been using Set a lot lately, since this energy known as Aset has been coming up. And Aset was the sterile one. Set was the sterile one. And you know how the story goes. He dismembered Osiris. And when he dismembered Osiris, that correlates to the separation of the languages. And without all the pieces there, the attempt to get back to the one true language has not been able to be manifested until now, which is Jubilee time, which is the end times that we are told about in all the prophecies across the world, or records that were left for us to understand what this time means, for us to understand the signs, the symbols, and to know what to do, to know what is happening and not be so freaked out and terrified and give rulership to the mind, be ruled by the mind, and be able to see those who are ruled by the mind, and to understand and understand why they do not want us to know that we are God and that we have that connection, that's there. that we don't need an intercessor or an interceder, that all we have to do is to learn how to quiet that mind down, is to make that mind submit, is to train it like that mind is a child or a dog. Sit, be quiet, be still. And you realize that you have dominion over your mind instead of the other way around. And that way your mind can't keep coming up with all these different tales that have you chasing your tail like a little dog. Round and round and round we go, round and around and around we go. Jubilee is the end of that. Okay, let me just keep reading. Thus taking away the duality of master and slave. Deep, 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 deep. The mind has us enslaved. And that enslavement is our inability to stop identifying ourselves with the mind, with what the mind gives us and tells us, this is who you are. This is how you act. This is what you must look like. This is your matrix that you stay in. This is your box. This is your lane. This is your confinement. These are your labels. These are your names. This is your race. This is your gender. This is who you can like and who you cannot like. This is what is popular and what is not popular. The I am has none of those parameters. It has no beginning. It has no ending. It is all and it is nothing. And that is your true identity. But as long as you are a slave to what the mind tells you, you deny your true inheritance. You deny your true self. You choose to serve the mind and not that which created that mind or that conscious state. That conscious state was born, it was created. It has a beginning and it has an end. And you have to be the ending of it by training it, by being its master, by not identifying with it as the last word, the last say so, as the truth, because it is a liar and it is the father of the lie, baby. Okay. The taking away of the duality of master and slave, sadists and masochists agreed upon enforced consciousness of how life is, should be existing, separate from the one, the I am, that gave birth to the consciousness that gave birth to all other consciousness. E pluribus unum. From the one came many. From the one name, from the one identity, from the one I, from the one consciousness came many. And that many is what the mind uses to contain you, to chain you to it, to convince you of who you are, who you are not. And I've been walking around here and just don't let nobody tell you who you are not. And I would say, what the hell do that mean? Sometimes to but I don't know, but it would just keep coming. I ain't gonna let nobody make me who I am not. You can't tell me who I am not. And all of a sudden, bam, here we go. The mind. It ain't nobody outside of you. It's your mind. The world mind. That which is ruling right now. That which has the whole world enslaved, thinking it is identified as this human body, and that it is so limited, and it is so scared to die, so scared to reject itself, so scared to surrender to its higher knowing that is instinctual, that it knows, that we call spirituality, and we cling to, and we search for, and we suffer for. And here come the mind. That's what you're supposed to do. You bad. You a sinner. You missed the mark. You made in the image of God. Okay, you ain't perfect. You can't get there. Ain't nothing you can do. Makes you want to beat your mind's ass. Excuse my French. But I am still, like I said, assimilating this download. It was just received this morning, and I wrote it all down as best I could, and I'm sharing it now. I slapped on makeup and wig, and here I am giving it to you. And it is what it is, beloveds. And I am myself am going to keep pouring over it and going over it. And I'm learning how when my mind is coming up with all this, you're not welcome here anymore. You sit, be quiet. Okay. Okay. I am no longer sitting on I am no longer sitting at my mother's feet, content with scraps that may fall. See, this is where the mind told me I belong. You sit at your mama's feet and you take whatever scraps of wisdom fall down. That's all you deserve. That's the best you can get. That's your heaven. Well, guess who just ascended from the feet up to the lap, baby? I have ascended to her lap, and I am feeding and being fed directly from her. It means I am consuming/eating my mother's flesh and drinking her blood. Though we are what we eat, the collective I am. So when you have these ancient rituals of consuming bread or wine or flesh or food and drink, this is symbolic of the nursing child drinking its milk from its mother. Okay? Understand what the consistency and content of that milk is. that milk is her blood. It's what her body has assimilated. It's getting it pure. It's coming out as milk. And all the nutrition is designed especially for that individual child. All the antibodies, all the whatever else, vitamins, nutrients, whatever else is genetically programmed for that child. So when Aset tells me I have been lifted up and sat on her lap now, that I have matured to that level where I can feed directly, I am consuming her. Blows my mind. Let me keep going. This knowing of thyself awards freedom, abundance, peace, paradise, and unconditional love. And what we give birth to from this awareness/consciousness is whole, thus holy, as I am. So when you are not in being fed by the mind, and you are consuming and digesting and speaking and absorbing the entire vastness of the I am, your thoughts become holy, your actions become holy, your vibration becomes holy, your presence becomes holy, your speech, everything becomes holy. You begin to ascend. You begin to transcend the mind's limitations. You begin to understand the elements in a different way. You may even begin to see elementals. You may be able to start speaking with them directly because it's one spiritual language. Those are your brothers and sisters. They're made of the same thing you are. The same consciousness that went into them all came together to give birth to you. So these elementals are invested in you. They're invested in you remembering who you are. You are not alone here. We are not alone. We do not have to depend upon human beings to quote unquote save us. We are our saviors when we learn to master our mind, when we can transcend this slavery, when we claim our heritage, our abundance, our right to it, because we have woken up to the truth. And the truth will set you free, baby. Okay. Whew. Direct message from Aset. Pay special attention to these 3 trees known as wheat, corn, and sunflowers, and you will never starve, and you will be physically and spiritually nourished inside and out. And these 3 trees, as she calls them, also nourish the earth. And beloveds, I'm like, okay, I call Aset Mama. Okay, Mama, you know, why is this, pay special attention to this? And this is what she said. GMO, pesticides, starvation not only happens to the people, it happens to the earth, happens to the animals, happens to the air. So you have to understand the mindset, the mind slash set, Egyptian set, jackass set of those who would produce GMO, of those who are poisoning us because we're getting too many and we may start to wake up and they may lose power and thus control. And they get pleasure. They are the sadists. We are the suffering ass masochists. I don't feel like going to work. Okay, I gotta get up. Baby needs some shoes. This is what is expected of me. Government need their taxes so they can go to war. So they can keep things separate. Like I said, the more I pondered on this, the more my mind was blown. And then, like I read yesterday, and I'm gonna just read it again. What I do with my glasses? Here we go. I'm gonna read this again because, like I said, I put this on my wall. Something told me, put it on your wall, baby. Put it on your wall. Knowledge is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. The 10 virtues, I said I got 9 of them. I must control my thoughts. I must control my actions. 3, I must have and show devotion to purpose. 4, I must have faith in the ability of the teacher to teach me the truth. 5, I must have faith in my ability to assimilate the truth. 6, I must have faith in my ability to wield the truth. 7, I must be free from resentment under the experience of persecution. 8, I must be free from resentment under the experience of wrongdoing. 9, I must cultivate the ability to distinguish right from wrong. Right is that which I love, that which is loved. Wrong is that which is hated. And the 7 keys of ascension. Accept your divinity. 2, do not believe in loss or gain. 3, not my will but thine. 4, forgive all betrayals. 5, view the ego impersonally. 6, have faith in the support of the visible realms. 7, accept your death. And that simply means the identity that we have been holding on to of ourselves as sinners, as weak, as something that has to evolve, as something less than God, that's lacking God, that we got to find it outside of ourselves, that we have to build temples and go in them and pay priests on our behalf because we so damn wicked and bad, we hopeless, not understanding, haven't forgotten. We are the living temples. And what we call God dwells within. And it is only the mind that say, God ain't in you. That ain't God. You crazy. Like I said, it's getting deep. It's getting so deep. And me, myself, and I, we enjoying the hell out of this. And to think that everything you encounter, okay, is something that your mind has woven, has manifested to keep you enslaved with the memories of it, with the sensations of it, with the smells of it, with the taste of it, with the fear of it, with the lust and the longing and the desires of it. All of that comes from the mind, not from nobody else, from your mind. And y'all know how introspective I am. So these last 3 years, like I said, I've been 2 seconds in and 2 seconds out. But this understanding right now, right here, ain't nothing like it. It's nothing like it. It's taking me back to when I was little. And I didn't know I had received all of this and was receiving all of this. You just different. You just weird. Shut up, Valerie. Don't tell nobody that stuff. Here we go. Okay. Pay attention to the world of stars or or to the world of stars or stars, illuminous powers and principalities. Illuminaries, stars, illuminaries, powers and principalities of this world. They are the servants slash slaves of the mind, willing and unwilling, to their created identities and archetypes and roles that they play. Blew me away. And then that part where I read on the wall that said, I must be free from the resentment under the experience of persecution. I must be free from resentment under the experience of wrongdoing, which means when you're free, you're not enslaved by the mind who's going to keep throwing that stuff at you. You being persecuted. They don't like you. They going to get you. Diddy 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 da 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 doo 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 doo. Baby, I am. Where do they fit in that? And the mind has to come up with something else. So you are not at war with the world. You are at war with your own mind. Your mind is what's ruling you and ruling everybody around you. So do not resent those who are being ruled. Some know, and they gain tremendous pleasure out of their little sadistic mind. It makes them very happy. But others have been enslaved, and their minds will not allow them. It holds them. You know you did this. You know that was done to you. You know you liked it. You a punk bitch for letting that happen to you. Just shut up. Just go on and let it happen. Guilt, shame. You Atlas wore down by your mind. That's your cross. Put it down. Stop being a bag lady. Put that shit down. And when that mind come back up and say, here, hold this for, nah, baby, I ain't got time for that. No, that don't even exist. That's something you done made up for me to hold. No, thank you. I don't see nothing there. I don't have no interest in that. I'm not fascinated by that. Mm, Girl, you gone. Let me tell you what you can do with that bag, okay? Get your mind in check. It's not about somebody else. And that's what's meant by it's not the spoon that bends, it's the mind. Like I said, I am so blown away. And I also found out something. That's why this month, for some reason, has been so very powerful for me. I found out this, my mother and father in this lifetime were married on February 1st. So this month, that is for me the genetic harmony, spiritual harmony, because he's not my natural father, my biological father, but that is the hieros gamos. That is the union of the male and the female. That is the understanding of the intuition and the logic. That is the understanding of where my character comes from. It comes from my father. And like I said, all of this is, and my father always taught me to have my own mind, to always stand my ground. So, like I said, this is very powerful for me right now. And I am just pleased as I can be to be receiving it. And with unconditional love, I am sharing it. It's like keys. Here, unlock your change. We all been slaves. Here go the key. Unchain yourself. Let's go. Let's go. Open it up. I'm going to say at time. Free us. Set us free. You know, it's time to take that mind down. Okay. I'm breathing. Pay attention to the collective who is awake in its true I am consciousness. Those who do not practice division or duality of the mind. Those who encourage you to recognize and acknowledge the need to transcend / master the current human conscious mind into the one I am, that I am consciousness, which is not a fluctuating state of being, but one of absolute stillness. And when I finished writing that, Aset brought Marianne Williamson to my mind, for she is the one that helped me so much on my journey. And she was the one I quoted on my Facebook page, which was my identity that I had to surrender. And who are you? Not to know yourself, not to be beautiful, not to think you're beautiful. Don't you know you are a God? You are a child of God. You are God. Be mindful. Remember. Know what you're seeking is self-mastery. It's not somebody to love you. It's you to love you. Okay. Let me read that again. Recognize, acknowledge the need to transcend, master the current human conscious mind into the one I am that I am consciousness, which is not a fluctuating state of being, but one of absolute stillness. Because the universe slash one verse says, still waters run deep. Y'all know I'm a music head, so all of this is this is the language for me. Still waters run deep, meaning that which could give birth to the abyss from which all and nothing, seen and unseen, the concept of consciousness itself arose. Baby, it slash he slash she slash they slash them slash we slash us ain't no joke. Know thyself. Don't get no more powerful than that. Them three little words. Know thyself. And look up the meaning of thy, Thy, and get the understanding of that old term. How do you master your mind? Its voice, its choices, its concepts, its constructs, its illusions, its holographs. Understand what harmony and balance and unconditional love and peace are. It is I am that I am, and it is the truth. So, how do you master those voices? When all of that mind chatter, that monkey mind keep come sweeping in like the flying monkeys, slap them little suckers back with let me give you some of this truth. Okay? They can't handle the truth. They cannot handle the truth. That mind cannot handle the truth. All them little lies it comes up with, all them little fantasies, you give it the truth, it go sit down somewhere. Or it keep trying to run and spin something. And the more you are in your I am, baby. Okay. Now picture the scales of Ma'at. Put the mind on one side and the I am on the other. Oh, wait. Now picture the scales of Ma'at. Put the mind, consciousness, self, on one side and the I am that I am, consciousness, self, on the other. There can be only one. There can be slash exist only one truth. All else must be consumed by it. And this was the image that was shown to me. Like the staff of Moses that turned to a snake and ate all the other snakes. There can be only one, baby. Like in the Highlander. Whew, this, like I said, stranger than fiction is fact. Be wise like the serpent. Consume the false images of the imagination and know thyself. The imagination, the I-magination, what the mind magic makes up and manifests. Consume it because you know yourself. Consume it because you are the truth. Eat that lie shit up. There can be only one. That is how you master the mind, that which gave birth to duality concept. Then record it so the children may know. Like I said, this is us said. Then record it so the children may know. Know thyself. They'll figure it out. From this generation to the next 7 generations on and so forth. There is only one author. Sign it. I am that I am. Each one of you, as you go through this journey, and you will, you are. The more you sit with this understanding, this self-inquiry, this seeking the spiritual quest of knowing who you truly are, of what you're truly capable of what your purpose is. Like this, how did this begin for me? It began with, let me see, what virtue was that? 3, I must have and show devotion to purpose. 4, I must have faith in the ability of the teacher to teach me the truth. The truth is, Valerie, the mind is a lie. And that which I am resides inside of me, waiting on me to shut the mind up and stop identifying with the mind and stop identifying with this world's conditioning that is who I am. I'm a woman. I'm a Chickamauga, Cherokee, Black, Mexican Indian woman. I'm a straight woman. I'm a woman who was born in the United States. I'm a woman who was born in upstate New York. I'm a Taurus. I'm a this. I'm a that. I ain't none of that. That stuff the mind came up with to label, to separate, to put into boxes, to organize, to keep you in chaos, to keep you in competition mode, to keep you in suffering mode, because it is a sadist and it enjoys watching you go around chasing your tail. It gets extreme pleasure out of you chasing your tail, out of you sitting there crying, "Ooh, God, help me, God." It laughs at you because you already are God. You just sitting there crying for something that you already are, and it's got you so fooled. I want you to think about the depth of what's being shared with you. Think about the symbology of it. Bondage, masters, slaves. Think of the mind holding a whip over every human being that exists. The mind telling us you're superior to them over there because you're white, or you're Black, or your God is better than theirs. Your way is better. You cook better than they. Your food tastes better than theirs. Oh, that you beautiful and they ugly. Your hair is pretty because it's this and that. Theirs is not because diamonds is better than sapphires, you know. And eating meat is better than being a vegetarian. Yep, all the meat eaters is going straight to hell. They surely is. And you know you wear a size 10, but girl, you know, big people, big feet. Gonna tell us you wear a 7 and shove your foot on in that shoe, girl. Go on, walk. Don't let nobody see it hurt. So please don't think I'm making this up. And like I said, the truth speaks for itself. It don't need nobody to protect it, to defend it, All you got to do is let it loose. Let it loose. Free your mind. How did that go? Your ass will follow. Okay. I'm on fire. I can't help it. I am fire. The Holy Spirit got me amped up. Okay. Okay. I once read a book. It was called Conversations with God, the first one. The rest of them were, first one was mind blowing because it taught you. The ego mind has identified itself as God the Absolute, having conversations with itself. So when you read the book Having Conversations with God, that's what self-inquiry is. That's you going within, being still, shutting that mind up, and saying, speak to me. And you are not alone. There are elementals, there are angels, there are guides, there are guardians, there is all kind of energy just waiting for you to ask it to help you. Know thyself. And it's going to put it in ways that make sense. Like I said, this cultivate your garden. The I am that I am observes even this. When the mind can no longer support the illusion, it must give up the ghost. It must die. It must get off the throne. This is the second death. Okay. The first death happened long ago with the initial separation. And again, with this coming from Aset for me, the Egyptian version is the loudest for me. In this now moment, the abyss womb was Set, Nephthys, Isis, Osiris, who gave birth to the consciousness of Anubis and Horus, and Osiris was dismembered / causing separation with an intent and agenda. Set caused that separation. He dismembered Osiris with intent and agenda. That means his mind had intent and agenda. He was following his mind. He was being led by his mind. He was a slave to his mind. Osiris had mastered his mind. Set had allowed his mind to master him. That is why Horus had only one eye. No agenda needed. And that's it, beloveds. That is it. And like I said, it's blowing my mind. And I'm going to watch this again and again for myself because it enforces and reinforces what I am integrating. And it allows me to help train my mind and to recognize the real true cunning that my mind is a wise ass snake. That first snake that went and talked to Eve, okay? It's done seen everything and know everything. It existed in the abyss, baby. But so did I. And I dwell with the one who gave birth to the abyss. That mind consciousness came up out of there, but it was created. I listened to what gave birth to it, what created it. It cannot tell me, oh, I am the master of the universe. I am God. Baby, you had a beginning and you gonna have an ending. Let me help you on your way. Now that I know the truth, let me help you on your way. So when you come knocking, and let me tell you how slick it is. I heard from somebody today that I haven't heard from in who knows when. And they told me all the stuff they going through. And that they might need to come, it's a family member, that they might need to come stay with me and all of this and all of that and all of this and all of that. And my mind is like, mm-hmm. And my I am self is like, you know that's the mind, right? And I'm like, mm-hmm. I know that's the mind. Trying to weave something, crochet something, manifest something real quick. Take me up out of this stillness. Put my attention on something else. No, I'm right here. I'm on the lap, baby. I'm drinking the good stuff. Ain't nothing you can offer me. Not a dang on thing. Not a dang on thing. But more milk. More of this what I got. It's good. It's good. And once I can get that mind, whew, it's about to be mastered. Better believe that. And I have a feeling and I have a knowing that is called truth. That is called Jubilee. That has been prophesied by all my ancestors and all the guides and guardians who are speaking to me in this moment. I am that I am. And so are you. Namaste. Namaste. I honor the God in you. When you are in that God place, I recognize it. And I honor that because I recognize it in myself. Know thyself. Love us all.